Hello, and welcome to Handled-ish, Productivity for the Imperfect, a weekly podcast about those who want to elevate their productivity, but are not looking for perfection. I'm your host, Betsy Hayes, and I'm very happy you're here with me in podcast land or on YouTube. This is episode 26, which is a really big deal because that means this is half a year of content for my podcast. And I feel very happy. I feel very proud. And I thought, maybe every 26 episodes, every half a year, I would do something a little bit different. So today I want to talk about who am I and why did I do this podcast and what do I want to accomplish with it? I think those are some very valid questions that I have been asked. And so I thought it might be fun to talk about that. Some of this I have shared with you before. I am a 54-year-old college professor who lives in Central California with two grown kids whom I adore and who don't live with me. So I am an empty nester. I am currently without pets, although I love them. I had a yellow lab, which I actually talked about in the last episode, Max, who was just the perfect dog. So it's just been really hard after he passed away to get another one. I have decided, however, that I'm going to really rethink that in 2025. So stay tuned. Who knows? There might be a puppy running around at some point behind me during the podcast. I love my job. I am a very, very, very fortunate human being to get the opportunity to teach America's future, or California's future anyway. I just finished my 25th year teaching at Fresno State. Prior to that, I worked in the public relations industry. So I had experience working for a public relations agency, a city, and a hospital. I've also done work with nonprofits, so pretty much have experience in just about every way that you can practice public relations. And it's obviously my first love. While I was practicing public relations, I really did get the call to potentially become an educator. I come from a family of educators, and I thought, wow, you know what? Maybe I really do need to explore that path a little deeper. And so I did some substitute teaching, and yeah, didn't go well. This was elementary school, and I like to, the way I describe it is the kids ate me alive. Yeah, it was not my superpower teaching elementary school children. And so I thought, oh my gosh, yeah, no, this whole teacher thing is not for me. Evidently, PR is where I'm supposed to be at. And then I was doing a workshop. I think it was for risk managers for the state of California. I believe that's who I was talking to about a campaign that the agency I was working for was doing. And all of a sudden I had this really cool light bulb that I really should be an educator, just not for little kids, that I should be an educator for big kids. And that's when I went back and went to graduate school and started my career in teaching. As I mentioned, I love it. I'm incredibly blessed. I learn from my students, at least as much as they hopefully learn from me. And I'm just very, very fortunate to be in a place that I love my job so much. I also love the creative projects that I have the opportunity to do. Published my first children's book at Thanksgiving time of 2023. Looking forward to actually working on another one later on this year. That's just been something I've always wanted to do, and I'm so grateful that that is coming to fruition. Hat tip to Luca, my illustrator. And my podcast, as you know, is something that I just have wanted to do for a long time, and I'm having so much fun, and I'm so grateful for. This is my second of probably 3 podcasts. I worked on one. It's called Central Valley Stories, Advertising and Public Relations. It's just a 13-episode podcast series where I interviewed advertising and public relations professionals in the Central Valley. And you can find that on YouTube or anywhere where you listen to podcasts. If you're interested in PR and advertising, I think you might really enjoy that. That was part of my professor job. And I'm just about to start a new podcast project that has to do with exploring the future of journalism. That's in partnership with the Institute for Media and Public Trust. And I can't wait to get that started and to launch that and to tell you more about that partnership. So obviously podcasting has become a bigger part of my life. And so is the writing piece, in addition to the children's books. Some of you are aware, if you follow me on social, that my co-author Tori and I are working on the next edition of Land Your Dream Career, which was a nonfiction book that we published back in 2013. We're doing the second edition 10 plus years later, because clearly things have changed in the world of how to launch your career after college. And we're having the best time with that. And that's sort of really rekindling the love for the written word that I have always had. So I'm playing around with some potential fiction ideas, some other things. I took a class on novel writing last summer, and that was so fun. And ever since then, all I've done is write down little ideas that may be in a book that I might write someday. So that's definitely not a near-term thing, because my plate's a little full, but I'm very much looking forward to that. So that's who I am. I'm an educator, author, podcaster, and I also love to do public speaking workshops, keynotes, and that of course just kind of makes sense, being an offshoot from being a college professor. Which brings me to why I'm doing this podcast. So first of all, as you know, this is stuff that I love to think about. This is stuff that I love to talk about. These are things that I am hopeful can be helpful to people. My primary objective of this podcast is to provide value to you, the listener / viewer, and hopefully provide information that will make your life better and more productive, however you decide that you want to think about that. So providing value is my number one goal for this. And if you have thoughts at any time on how I could provide more value, I would love to hear. Goal number 2 with this podcast is to have fun. I am having the best time, and as long as that continues, I definitely want to continue this. Just been so cool to do something completely different, do something that frankly is quite terrifying. Hat tip to all the creators out there. It is scary. I really feel like we're like the brave little toaster. If you're familiar with that little guy, I don't think my children watch the brave little toaster, but I think I get the idea, right? That there's this toaster and he, does cool stuff, and that's why he's called the brave little toaster. But the idea of just, putting yourself out there and sharing your thoughts and your face with the world, I gotta tell you, it definitely takes courage, and something that I think those folks that do create need to remember, that should feel good. So courage is hard. It's hard to do that. So proud of myself for doing that. And also it's been great to learn new skills, new technology, new things, and to experiment with how I film the podcast, how I edit the podcast, how I promote the podcast, just having those neurons, right, fire off in different ways, which I'm assuming is good for my brain. And then the third reason that I am doing this podcast is I really would like to build up my speaking business a little bit more. I love to talk to groups and, be part of corporate retreats and, conferences and events, and, share my passion for things that I think can be helpful to people. It's something I've enjoyed for as long as I've been an educator, and have been very grateful to have had opportunities to do so. And it's something I'd like to do more of. And so I'm hopeful that this podcast will help elevate my profile a little bit to be able to have some additional opportunities in that space. So that's something I'm looking toward as well. Looking to learn more and research that space a little bit more, and maybe being a little bit more assertive and intentional about those types of things. So looking forward to that. So yeah, that's the scoop. That's me and why I'm here and what I like to do. And I guess outside of all of the work and creative stuff, I am blessed like crazy with the most amazing family and the most amazing friends. And so I love to spend time with them. That's kind of my hobby, I guess. I love adventures. Um, I'm getting to learn to love travel because I haven't really done a lot of it lately, and so I'm doing more, and that's so fun to have different experiences, and that's been awesome. And those are, what I like to spend my time on. Love to cook and bake. Haven't been doing that a lot lately, but that's something I also really, really, really enjoy. I love to do that for others. I don't really love necessarily to do that just for me, but to do it for other folks is so joyful. So joyful for me. So yeah, so I hope that you have the most amazing week, and maybe just maybe spend some time thinking about who you are and why you are doing the things that you are doing. I think it's important to reflect on that and make sure that we're in alignment with how we want to be and what we want to be doing. I think that has some very significant value. So that's a challenge that I'm issuing to you this week. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm incredibly grateful as always for you. And be sure to tune in next time for the next episode of Handled-ish, Productivity for the Imperfect. And until then, take care. Be kind to yourself. I'm serious about that because you are doing much better than you think you are. Trust me.